can feel the sweet wind blowing through the valleys and the hills. I can feel the sweet wind.
Howdy, I'm Maynard Stanley, and this is Maine Woods and Waters. Today we decided to have some friends over for supper, and instead of inviting them to the house, we thought we'd bring them here. Down by the lake, we're going to have pepper chicken, baked potatoes, dump cake, and cornbread. And we're going to fix it all right here with Duch Ovens. And so I hope you enjoy the show. One of the nice things about Dutch oven cooking, you can generally bring about everything to the campsite right inside of the Dutch oven. All your ingredients, you can set everything in there. If things are in boxes, open up the boxes, put the bags inside the Dutch oven. That way everything will fit right in there. Eggs and stuff like that you can put into Ziploc bags, and they don't take up much space, and if they get cracked, it's still right in the bag. What we're going to do first, we've already seasoned the chicken, and what we're going to do now, egg the chicken a little bit. Place the chicken in the Dutch oven. Now while you're doing this, before you do this part of it, you want to make sure you get your charcoal going. If you're cooking with charcoal, it takes about 15 or 20 minutes to get that up to temperature. I'm using just original shake and bake chicken mix. You know, this time of the year it's fall. You can see the leaves and stuff are turned, and it is just beautiful out here. No mosquitoes. And maybe after I get this cooking, I'll do a little fishing. You know, while I'm out here cooking, now we're going to make this pretty. We're going to use different colored sweet peppers. They really add a lot to this dish. And they make it look pretty. So this is what we got so far. We'll put that amount more on top. Plus half that number. And that's for baking. If you're boiling something in a Dutch oven, you just put as many as you want underneath it, and let it boil. Faster the better. But baking, we want to make sure that chicken gets cooked all the way through. So I'm going to make sure we do it about right. So let's see. We've got 14 around the outside, and we've got 6. That's 7 in the middle. So the next thing I guess we're going to do is we probably ought to put the potatoes on, because the baked potatoes are going to take a little bit longer to cook than chicken. So We'll get that. Okay, we've already got our baked potatoes ready to get going, so we'll get these started and then we'll work on the dessert. Now when you're cooking like this with Dutch ovens, I don't know if you can see right in the this little charcoal, this briquette starter. I'm leaving 5 or 6 briquettes down in the bottom because we need to start more briquettes because we're going to be cooking more things. So I'm going to save a few out, and or you can use them now, and when you get ready to start more charcoal, just take a few off and put them in the can, start some more. So now we have our chicken, we have baked potatoes. Now let's get the dessert going. I'm going to use this is my Leatherman, and we're going to open up some cans of peaches here for our dump cake. And these little can openers will really work pretty well. I'm going to dump those peaches right in there. I've got the unsweetened. I just dump those in, and you're going to see how easy it is to make dump cake. Now I've tried making dump cake at home in the oven, and it just doesn't come out the same. You got to have the it's got to be cooked outdoors in a Dutch oven, and you can cook it over with wood coals or with the briquettes. Either one will work fine. But it needs to boil actually up through the cake. It needs to boil up through the cake, and it also needs to brown on the top. So the things that a dump cake needs, it really gets from being cooked outdoors with either briquettes or a wood fire. Now we've cooked over with wood coals a few times. It's pretty tricky. You got to have a really good fire, lots of coals, because they don't last as long as the briquettes. Okay. Just dump those in like that. And I'm using just a classic yellow cake. Doesn't matter which kind. I'm gonna get the thing open here. Doesn't matter what kind. You just you can see our company's here for supper. Open that up like that, and then you just kind of sprinkle that in evenly over the peaches. You don't want to stir it. If you stir it, it'll catch on, it'll burn, it'll do all kinds of weird things, and then you'll wish you didn't. And that's all there is to that. Howdy. Supper's not ready yet.
Okay, let's go home.
We're going to melt some butter. Cut. Okay, we've got our butter melted here. We need to pour the butter over the dump cake. Kind of sprinkle it around a little bit. Just like that. Now it's good we've got this greased up. You'll see why we're going to need that greased in a few minutes. So there's the dump cake. Now we're going to have to change our order of how everything is stacked up over here now. What we're going to need to do now is change the order of the stacking here. So we're going to check the chicken, see how the chicken's looking before we move on. Oh boy, it's looking good. So now these briquettes are starting to we're starting to lose the volume there, so we're going to add a few more. To the top part of the chicken, which will be the underside of the dump cake. And we want to get that dump cake a good quick start, get it cooking, because the main thing it has to do is start boiling. And the boiling is actually what mixes the dump cake up. So let's set a dump cake right on top of the chicken. This is 12-inch. So we're baking. We're going to put about 17 briquettes on top. I like to put, or it's a 12, I like to put the 12 on around the outside edge, and then I'll put the extra 6 on the inside. That's kind of an easy way to remember. Now if the briquettes are half gone or half used up, you need to kind of use a fudge factor, I guess, there, and add in a couple extra. Sometimes if it's real windy, you'll want to use more briquettes because the wind will take the heat away from the Dutch ovens. Now it's perfectly calm here, so we shouldn't have any problem with that. So 1, 2, 8, 9, 10. Put these in the middle. Now this is the top of the dump cake, but now it's going to be the bottom of the baked potatoes. Now we'll just keep those cooking. We have a chicken, pepper chicken, dump cake, baked potatoes. And now we'll these briquettes are starting to fade a little bit on the top here, so we'll add a few more on here. We want to make sure those baked potatoes keep cooking. For myself, I'd rather have a baked potato a little overdone than underdone. And again, we've left enough briquettes in the bottom of our briquette chimney so that we can start some more briquettes. Now, I'm just going to go back over these things here. We did the chicken first. That's going to take about a half hour, thereabouts, half hour, 45 minutes at the most to cook. That's because we started with a cold Dutch oven. If we preheated the Dutch oven, probably 20 minutes to a half hour, the chicken would be done. The dump cake is going to take the longest. And the baked potatoes we did after the chicken. So the baked potatoes will be done probably in another 15 minutes or so. So what we're going to do is we'll take the chicken off and do the next step on this chicken. There's one other step that we're going to do, and then we'll put it back together, and then we're going to, while we're eating the chicken and the potatoes, the dump cake will get a chance to finish up. So let's check that chicken and see how it's cooking now. Okay, we'll very carefully unstack these. You know, and they're going to stay cooking, even though we're unstacking them right now. Now let's take a look at this chicken. Oh boy, it smells some good. Oh yeah, look at that. Excellent. Let me get the fork. Yeah. Chicken is nearly done. So we'll do the next step. There's two things we're going to do. One is we're going to put about 2 to 3 tablespoons of ranch dressing on each piece of chicken. And just pour it a little bit right on each one. Just like that. You don't have to be too formal. A little more on that one. Okay. And then we're going to sprinkle, I like the sharp cheddar. So we're just going to sprinkle that sharp cheddar all over the chicken. Like that. Now we'll close it back up and let it finish cooking. Okay. I'm going to add a few more briquettes to the top of that, just to keep that nice and hot. Briquettes are burning up all the time you're cooking, so you don't want to lose the temperature in your Dutch oven. Keep your temperature up. If you use the formula that I mentioned earlier, that will give you about a 350 degree oven, and that's pretty universal for cooking a lot of stuff. So there. And we'll set the dump cake back on. Now the baked potatoes. And we'll get some more briquettes started so we can finish up cooking the dump cake. Now we're going to make some cornbread. Now I brought the milk actually in a cup, and I just dumped that in there. Now 1 egg. And some real basic cornbread mix. Dump everything in the baggie. And mix. One of the nice things about these bags these baggies. You can lug the stuff in them. And you can mix up your ingredients in the baggie, and then you can also put your trash in them to lug everything out when you go. Now we've already melted butter in our little Dutch oven here, so we're all set to just pour the batter right in. We'll get a little bit more batter than what we need for that size Dutch oven, so I'm not going to put everything in there. Like that. And now we'll set it up on top. Okay, we'll set that up on top, and we'll put some briquettes on the top of it here to get that started. We had some extras, remember, we put on here. So there. And we'll give that probably about 10 or 15 minutes. 10 minutes probably, and we'll be ready to eat. Well, our chicken should be done now, so we're gonna take the chicken out of this line up here and get it out so we can start getting ready to eat. That's the baked potatoes. Let's take a look here. Let's look at the dump cake and see how that's coming. That's looking good. That should be done just about the time we're finished eating our supper. Now the chicken. Chicken is done. You see in there? Let's see if I can tip that up a little bit. There's the chicken. Pepper chicken. Now what we're going to do, we don't need to cook this pepper chicken anymore, so we're going to take the briquettes off from this, and that will make up for these ones here that are starting to fail a little bit. And also, these Dutch ovens get so hot, they will actually, even after you take them off the heat, they will still continue to cook. So sometimes you need to actually take things off, take the heat off before they're actually done. Just anticipating that they'll actually finish cooking from the heat of the ovens. Okay, our chicken is done and the baked potatoes are done, so we're going to start eating, and we'll let the dump cake finish, and the cornbread. Cornbread, I didn't put it on in time, so that won't really be done in time to eat with our meal probably, but we'll keep an eye on it, and when it's ready, we'll still enjoy it. Okay, before we eat, I thought maybe we better check our dump cake. Make sure it's, you can see it steaming. Oh boy, yeah, look at that. See how the bubbling action up through is mixing the cake in just right. So we'll just put that back and let it finish cooking. And our cornbread. It's kind of a small cornbread anyway, but I like using that little Dutch oven, so there you have it. Pepper chicken and baked potatoes, and we'll be having a dump cake in a few minutes. Well, we're about done eating, and we need to check this other stuff. So I thought we'd check the little Dutch oven and our cornbread and see how that's coming. All right, take a look in that. There's the cornbread. I'd say it looks just about right. It is. Springs back, so dump the coals off. Let's see if we can get that little cornbread out. Okay, let's see if we can get that out in one piece. Well, there's our little cornbread. So, I guess we can cut that. So, I guess we can eat. Let's check our dump cake. There we have the dump cake, and it is done.
Did you know that outdoor education courses are available statewide to anyone who is interested? Hunters must take a safety course in order to get a license, but you don't have to be a hunter to take an outdoor safety course in Maine. Learn a variety of skills from certified instructors at locations statewide. Brought to you by the people who manage Maine's fish and wildlife for you, the Maine Department of Inland Fisheries and Wildlife. Visit our website to learn more. We'd like to remind you that Maine has 6,000 lakes and ponds and miles of rivers. But you only have to visit one of them to create a lasting and cherished memory. Brought to you by the people who manage Maine's fish and wildlife for you, the Maine Department of Inland Fisheries and Wildlife. Visit our website to learn more.